Hi, yeah, how's it going everyone? Max here. So before I get into the video guide, I'm just going to quickly show you guys how you can get the indicator in the same setup as me so you can follow along. So you go click the link in the description, it'll take you to this page. I'd appreciate if you gave me a like. This is where I posted the script. So you scroll down a bit, you should see this little area here. Click add to favorites, then go to any chart, go to indicators, favorites, and then you'll find it there. If that's not working for whatever reason, you can type in Maxx with two X's and it'll come up in the sort of public library. And for this video, let me actually get it up. So favorites. So yeah, throughout this video, I'm going to be using the smooth momentum. So all you have to do to get that set up as well is go to the format tab and hit smooth momentum. And that's it. That's the exact same setup as I have. Alright, now I'll get into the video. So main part of it is along the zero line here, you have these dots. So you see the green and orange dots. Now that's the TTM squeeze. And to explain that, I'm going to put on the Bollinger Bands, which is these orange lines, and the Keltner channel, which I have here in white. So like right here, when you get a Bollinger Band inside, one Bollinger Band inside the Keltner channel, you get orange dots, which is a loose squeeze. And when you have both Bollinger Bands inside the Keltner channel, like we have where we currently are, that's a strict squeeze. So both Bollinger Bands inside. Okay. Now you see the two lines as well. We have the two lines on the indicator. The white line is the momentum, and the orange line is a TEMA, which is the signal line. And when the white is above the orange line, then that's momentum up. And when the white is below the orange line, that's momentum down. All right. And so when we use this all together, which is what the indicator does, is when we get a squeeze, the indicator will look to see if the momentum is with the bulls or the bears. So is it below or is it above? So here we can see that it's squeezed strict. We're squeezed loose originally, but then squeezed strict. Put on the Bollinger Bands quickly, so we had both inside right here. And once it fires, it will continue the color until the momentum shifts again. So here we had a short. Let me show you an example of a long. Here we had a long. So we had this period where we had a squeeze, so we had a Bollinger Band inside the Keltner channel, bit of consolidation, but it was momentum up during that squeeze. And so once it fired, it keeps the momentum. All right, now how I like to use the indicator and how I find it helps me with my trades. Before going into this, I like to point out that I wouldn't ever rely solely on an indicator, and I just find it helps me identifying momentum at certain times. I always think that proper levels and properly understanding trend is more important, along with risk management when it comes to trading. So yeah, and so now I'm going to look at Bitcoin, but I'm going to look back a bit at when we were sort of trending a bit more, because where we currently are, where we currently are on Bitcoin, it's pretty much sideways, and it can give off a lot of false signals, and isn't necessarily the best time to be trading with momentum or trading these setups, just because I find there isn't many. But during trending, so after a significant move down or a significant move up, that's when I find it can be best to look for these certain setups. So the first way I like to trade is by trading these squeezes and following the momentum. So after we made this low here, we went momentum up. It was priced around here 662, and then we had a nice squeeze around 63. And during this period, the momentum was up the whole time here on the 4 hour. So we had this green line during the squeeze and fired long. So we kept the green line all the way up to here until the squeeze ended. And that's the first way. You could do that both long, short, simple as that. Done, done, done. And now the second way I like to trade, I think probably the way I prefer, is divergences. So what is a divergence? Let's put this off quickly so I can show you. So you can see here that on the momentum, this swing high here, we then followed up with a higher swing high. So we went from this peak 7.5 to this peak 8.5 $1,000. And then when we look at the indicator here on the 4-hour, we didn't make a new high. So that's bearish divergence. And I wouldn't necessarily take the trade upon seeing the bearish divergence up here. But the way I would like to take the trade is after we've lost the momentum and presented the bearish divergence. So that would be, this period after we lose the momentum here. Oops, let me do that. Yeah, here we go. And you can trade these, this is a bearish divergence, but I can show you an example, I'm sure, here of a bullish divergence. So we made a lower low, lower low, lower low, but indicator higher low, higher low. So this tells us the momentum was slowing even though we're making new lows. And then here again, so price was moving up. However, this sort of this leg up, if we look at the indicator here, we had a lower high on the indicator. So this is bearish divergence. And actually, this one's actually even better because if you're looking at this period, sorry, where were we there? This period right here, and then we're looking at what price was doing. So we're having this sort of slow grind up, but we were momentum down, even at this period right here. Momentum down, momentum down, momentum down. So you had the bearish divergence, which was here to here, and you had a lower high on the indicator, higher high in price, bearish divergence setup, and then you had loss of momentum. So pretty good setup. Now I'll go into some examples on some other charts, not just cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. So I'll show you those. All right, now I'm looking at a traditional market, S&P 500. So I tend to, when I'm looking at stocks and other charts rather than cryptocurrency, I tend to use a higher time frame. I do use the daily on Bitcoin, ETH, and other altcoins. And with altcoins, I tend to use the weekly too. It just depends on sort of what kind of time frame setup I'm looking at, what kind of move you're looking at. You kind of have to sometimes link the move up with a time frame, if that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. So for example of that, if we're looking at the ES or the S&P 500 here, we pushed up to a new high. But on the weekly here, we did make a new high in momentum. So bearish divergence, and this one played out pretty well, leg down. Okay, now we're looking at gold, US dollar here on the weekly. And this is to show you just about tracking momentum, not necessarily trading divergences. So we can see that it had this nice weekly momentum down, white line below orange, this whole time during last year, until it shifted it around September last year. And we've been momentum up ever since. During this momentum up period as well, we actually got a weekly squeeze. And because the momentum line was above the signal line, the squeeze colored the white line green, and it stayed green and will stay green until it crosses back over. All right, guys, now we're looking at ETH USD on the daily, and I'll quickly run you through how I like to use the indicator in combination with levels to make trades. So I posted this whole chart on ETH around, I think 120-ish. And I pointed out that I'm looking for this 84 level around this range, take a long out on ETH. So I end up taking the trade there, and I checked the max momentum at the time here on the daily, and it was exactly what I wanted to see, was a daily bullish divergence setup. So you can see we made a new low in price, higher low on the indicator, and that sort of gave me extra confidence that my trade was more than likely in the right direction. So I spaced out my targets a little bit higher. And what else? So I'll quickly show you guys some of the altcoin squeezes that we're seeing on, in the crypto markets. So Litecoin at the moment. Here we go, Litecoin, long squeeze fired. But if you're looking at the max momentum, you could have taken the trade aggressively. So maybe you didn't get it on the first week, maybe you got it in the second week. Let's see. So you got maybe somewhere in the middle of the second week, you still be up 50% on that trade. Even taking it late, you still be up a decent amount. Let's see, I can show you Tron. Tron's another great example. Squeezed, had this consolidation period, but was weekly long, right? weekly long even at 300 sats. So even at 300 sats, it was weekly long. And we're seeing these all over the crypto market. So I would just, look at the weekly max momentum, see if it's squeezing long, keep an eye on it, and profit. Alright guys, that's going to be all for this video on how to use max momentum indicator. If you're not coming from twitch.tv/CryptoTradersTV, you should definitely check us out at CryptoTradersTV. Follow us on Twitter, and you can also follow me on Twitter at MaxCharts with 2 X's. Thank you so much for watching. Leave a like and comment. Cheers.